When it comes to my addiction with the pornography in the past, I talked about it. I went in depth about how it ruined, my teenage years, ruined my chances of being good with women and getting women. It ruined my chances of, gaining opportunities and whatnot. I talked about how pornography ruined my life. That video was uploaded last year. But it's like, I feel like any video that I make about my experience with, the pornography addiction, I feel like I'm always leaving certain details out. And, this is just another perspective of my addiction. And when it comes down to it, it was literally self-destruction. And it's that way for a lot of young men. For me, I was literally destructing my own life by turning on Cornhub, going on the XX.com website, going on all the websites, going down into that rabbit hole of adult film, into artificial stimulation. And you see my flesh, right? It could not get enough of that pleasure. And even though I was gaining pleasure from that, I was left feeling empty. I was left feeling lonely. I was left feeling very isolated from everybody else. I was working a job that I really, really did not like, a manual labor job that I was only getting paid about $9 an hour. And it was nothing. It was every 2 weeks I was getting paid. And the way that I would kind of decompress from that job and the headaches was to turn on the adult film, get my rocks off. That's how I would do things. Now, I never got to a point where I'm like stripping down completely naked. I got the tissue box, I got the lotion next to me. No, it never got to that point. I would watch it on my tablet, and then I would just touch myself from that point on, from whatever I was watching. I would just get more stimulated from what I was watching. And for me, I wasn't finna get stimulated just by touching myself. I needed to watch, the hub. I needed to, watch all these women. You know what I'm saying? And when you're watching women on the hub, you're watching them getting smashed by a dude. So in hindsight, you're watching a man and a woman. Okay? You're watching a man too. And a lot of dudes don't want to admit this, but it's the truth. We're watching men on corn too, as much as women. And that can do so much damage to your mind, to your brain. For me, for years, it rotted my brain. And it did so much damage to my psyche. Did a lot to my confidence. And at the time when I was severely addicted, I really did not notice that I was addicted. When you're in a cycle of addiction, you don't really know that that thing is making you an addict, right? It's a constant dependence on that cheap dopamine. You don't even know it's doing damage. You're just so addicted. You're just so immersed in that pleasure. And that was me for like about 5-6 years. Until I practiced semen retention, and it kind of lit a fire under my ass to quit that addiction. Because it gave me so much more clarity on to overcome and to conquer. And I'm not going to lie, this has been a battle. The past 4 years have been a battle, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know, I'm quitting months, and then I go back a month later. Sometimes days, weeks, without, going without it. Then I'm going right back into the cycle. You know, and it's very scary when you're going into that rabbit hole of corn, and you're seeing different content. You're seeing all these different raunchy videos. And so I was inflicting a lot of self-harm. You know, I was inflicting a lot of spiritual rape, pretty much. And it impacted me negatively to talk to girls, to get work done, to focus. And it only caused me to procrastinate. It caused me to turn to a lot of entertainment. It caused me to overeat. You know, had a very, strong appetite. And there was a lot of times where I could not control my eating. And, I was just in this bad cycle of bad habits and cheap dopamine, years and years and years. And to be totally frank, I didn't become an addict until I graduated high school severely. For me, before I graduated, it was on and off with my addiction. It was on and off, because I had school to go to. I was around a lot more people, had a lot more socialization. When I graduated, I didn't have much socialization. And I didn't have any friends. I feel like the school friends I had, they did not translate to real life friends at all. And so I had a hard time finding me a job. So what time did I spend doing? What did I spend my time doing the most? Playing video games, wasting my time on entertainment, watching corn, and that was it. Barely going outside. Rotting away inside and being more isolated from people. And I didn't really have much community back then. And I felt like I had no future ahead of me. I didn't know what was next. I didn't know what I want to take on. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what my interests or hobbies were. And I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And so I questioned whether or not I had a purpose. And at that time, it was so blinded. That path was so blinded. I just could not see. I couldn't see past 20 feet. Like I'm on this road and it's all foggy up ahead. I can't see past 20 feet. Everything is uncertain. Everything is blurry. And that felt like that was my life for so many years. When I got on retention, it's like the road cleared up a little bit. Things in my life started to really add up. I started to figure out myself out a little bit more each and every day. But to end this video, I just want to kind of detail my self-destruction. And that part of that self-destruction was wanting to harm myself, wanting to just end my life. because I really did not see much meaning to my life. You know, being caught up in endless cycle of depression, anxiety. I had crippling depression that I felt like I cannot overcome. So, pornography has the ability to do this to a man's life, and it can also ruin a woman's life as well. And so, it's very important to understand and to identify your addiction. Identify what your problem is, where you're lacking in your life. And I had to do that evaluation of my own life. I'm lacking in certain areas. I'm lacking in love. I'm lacking in support. When it comes to my health, that's so important to me, to get my health back in order, to work out, to eat healthy, make sure I'm consuming the right nutrients every day so I can live a better life.